Happy Thursday. It's Thursday, isn't it? Did I lose my music? It's gone. Come on, wake up, Pretzel. You can do it. There we go. Good morning, Netspot. How you doing? Yeah, async. It works with a little asterisk. I don't know if you're on the Discord. I put a little bit more explanation on the Discord announcement. Well, let's hop to it. Oh, there you are. You're over here today. Let me fix that. Just a moment. Put you up there where you belong. Ooh, there we go. You recently found out about it, and it's absolutely fantastic. Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, it came in, was it 139? I think it came out the 1.39 or 43 release. Um, it was a while ago. I remember it was the autumn. It was just about winter. No, maybe it was December. December 2019. So I found a bug that was causing the rebuild all the time, the full rebuild. So basically, if you have a cargo.config file and your Webpack config sets mode to development for this WASM pack plugin, it does a full rebuild every single time. So I just deleted my special settings. It's all right. We'll live. I'm going to set this up in terminal 1. There we go. Getting set up. lib.rs. Oops. Let's come back over here. Let's close some of these. Yeah. Just going to close the extras. There we go. All right. Now, one thing that I like about keeping the router simple is that you can actually use it more than once. You can do all sorts of things with it. So in this case, I set up 2 routers. One that actually does async pages or async that can pass through this router. There's a future that gets returned here. And last night I also changed it so that instead of returning an option to a result, it now returns a result to a result, whatever the return type is. So in this case, in the case of these async routes, it returns a future, right? And if a future is not found, it'll return the actual request all the way through. The request is passed in here, right? Ownership is passed in, and here it's passed back, saying, hey, we didn't find anything, nothing matched. And then also, if these futures decide to, they can also return an error back with the request in it, which is fantastic. I know what you're thinking though. Three OKs? That seems a little much. Huh, Halsey? I struggled over this, and I thought, oh, you know what? I could come up with a new option type, one that returns the value passed in if nothing's matched. And well, there was already basically that variant, and it's called request, or it's called result. It's called result. So, and then the inner ones, basically the same thing. So multiple layers here, but it all does work, and it works out. I can see it working. Or is it here? This is the quote-unquote production one. There should be a page here. It's actually pulling this out of the KV store. If you want to hit that, that's fine. And we can go into emoji. This actually interacts with the durable storage object. It takes a little bit longer than the others. But I think that's expected. The durable objects, I don't think, well, first off, they're not production yet, right? They're still all beta. So who knows if they're being stored or local to the same sort of infrastructure that the workers are. They must be somewhere close. That takes a little bit longer. And if we come back here, I actually made a couple of interesting decisions. I figured on one of these websites, all right, what is the hot path? What is the expected path? And that's going to be that we do a page lookup. Right? Somebody goes to a part of the website. There's going to be some sort of lookup into KV store to see if a page exists for that. And even though that's probably going to be a little bit longer, right, than some of the routes that do not have to make a KV lookup, it's still the hot path. So I'm going to favor that route than doing all the let's say the admin routes. So, and you look at this and it's like, okay, well, we could probably wrap this up into some sort of utility. It's true. But we're gonna let that play out a little bit before deciding what it'll become. How is everyone today? Weekend's almost here. I'm so excited. It's gonna be good. Okay, so let's go back into the pages get route. The pages get is the only one that actually exists. That used to be the one that we called home. Home doesn't exist anymore. It's called pages get. Got moved into pages. And I added globbing to the router, which was not a big change. Basically, it's not using regular expressions, although it might look like regular expressions. It's not. Basically, you can have a route with, let's say, foo, bar, baz, and then any of these other ones would just match. In this case, I call these wildcards. And in the other case, you can actually mix and match these. You could have wildcards and the glob, but the glob always has to be the last one. Because in this case, this would match, what would this match? Foo, 1, bar, 2, baz. Halsey was here. This would match this route. So a couple new routing features, but still keeping it simple, right? That was actually a fairly simple thing to do. And, but you know what? There were some other neat little changes in there. Let's go actually look at the source for that. Should we do it this way? I don't know. Code gen. So one of them's in helpers. Let's go look at the tree source. And this is all open source here. To the segment, we added glob and wildcard. And ended up storing, I don't know why we were calculating this every time, but the arg count, we know what the arg count is when we generate these const routes. So that's pre-calculated. Whether or not it has a glob is pre-calculated. Basically everything that we could pre-calculate, we did. So those got added. And those here. Check to see if it has a glob already. And the glob rule for the glob being at the very end is actually done at compile time, so we don't have to check that here. It says wildcards are arguments. We actually skip the match, which is fine. If you find a glob, just return true. It's a match. If you get to that part in the sequence. So really kind of small changes to add some fairly powerful features. I like that. Keeping it simple. All right. Let's see, where else are we going to go here today? Let's look at this. What does it get now? You can see that we're matching everything. And Our return type is a little bit more complicated. We have a pinboxed future that results to a result of response, or we return back the request. It's a lot going on there. And we could create some little type helpers here, just to make it a little bit more readable. And that would probably be a really good thing. So why don't we do that? I'm going to copy that line. Let's go to lib. We have, oh, here we go. What do we call this? Type future result. Take a T on this. Okay. And this actually returns a standard result. Alias is never used. Okay. Let's take that back into the page. And we will have a future result. That's better. Let's toss a little bit of documentation on there. Used or returning a type, or let's see. Okay. Back into pages. Now, let's see, how's everything today? Is network holding up? I saw that Starlink was a little shaky this morning, but I went ahead and did this anyways. Let me check on it. It looks like it's been okay. We're getting some draft packets. Okay. So what happens here for our async request? First, we box spin an async block. We move everything inside of it, because if it doesn't work out, we're going to move everything back out of it. You can see in this case, we actually get env request. If we did have some sort of value, some sort of argument that was passed in here, like user, user ID, that should still work. So we would end up with user ID stir here, and then we could actually allocate it, right? We could clone that, make it 2-owned, and pass it in. Otherwise, the lifetimes just aren't going to work here. Right? But it's still possible. Now, in our async block that gets returned, right? This doesn't get executed like right here. This actually gets returned and awaited later, which is fine. We get the path. I wonder if this has to be owned. It might, because of where we're awaiting. Well, it needs to be a string. That's really what has to happen. Because a KV fetch expects a string. That, and I want to namespace these. Because I want like the KV fetch for these different types, of course, right? For the JS string, the readable string, stream, the array buffer. But I also want to have a namespace. So if it's for the pages, and I want the readable stream for that, I want to prefix this path with, let's say, pages. That way we can find these in the KV interface. It's just really nice organization-wise to be able to separate them out. Let's see. Here's our KV for production pages. And here's the list of them. There should be a page here for this route. But what I'm saying is that this should be like a pages : slash, something like that, right? So instead of just a slash, it should be pages, blah, blah. Let's bump that up a little bit, make it easier to see on a phone, etc. So yeah, we would have that, and then like there should be a page here. Yeah. Something like that, where we just, change it to the exclamation point. But I like kind of using the : there, something like that. I mean, we could use something else there. It could be something else. It'd be like a hyphen or whatever. So where do we put the prefixing? Should we put it here? We could create a little wrapper. Right. Fetch page. And just prefix it here. That might work kind of nicely. What else could we do? I prefer to have all the prefixing done like in one place so it's uniform. We could pass another type in. I think I would rather type fetch page. Like if I'm calling this, right, foo bar baz, I would rather type it like that than fetch : page mv foo bar baz. That little gymnastics here is kind of uncomfortable. So I'd rather the underscore page. And with the other cases, we could pass in the prefix, but then every place you have to pass the prefix in. And that could be an enumeration, right? Fetch env, prefix, page, path. Could do something like that. That also works. But in terms of each one of these, which one do I like the best? I think I still like the simple one. Just baking it in. Although I think this one's kind of, this one might actually be smaller. Okay, pub struct prefix. No, enum. Page. Get rid of those. We'll pass in the prefix here. Now this path string bit here, this could be something else now. This could actually be something that's like asref stir. Is that how you're supposed to? Well, of course, over here, but you can do come over here, move to where clause, replace infiltrate with generic, and move it to the where clause. Rename it. Let's name it to S. Flip the comma. It doesn't matter. Not there. Okay. Now in this case, we're going to have to do some sort of allocation, right? Let's import display for prefix. Either that or we could have some sort of, we just import. Same difference, it feels like. This is a prefix. Switch. Match self. And that's our prefix. Page colon colon. All right. Now this get here, this is out of CF. Get. Which one? Maybe this one? That's a durable objects one. Here's a KV. Okay, so this does expect a string. I don't think we can have a stir here, can we? Oh, it lets you do that. Why wouldn't we always do that? We can't return stirs. Well, that makes sense. But any args. Set URL. I think we've just about got it. Yeah, then it wraps around there. Oh, almost. There, that wrapped around. Okay. KV prefix page. I mean, it's a little long. Okay. If that works. Okay. Is there a way to do this without an allocation? I don't think so. Oh, that's right. It just needs to be display. But that ref shouldn't pull display. Let me just have path here. Okay. So now we can get the path, the page with the right path. Let's go ahead and get this built. Wrangler. Publish. Did I actually do that? Muted? Sorry. Actually, we had a good one at work the other day. What was it? I'm actually gonna preserve that one. Okay. Let's test this. Oh, perfect. Okay. Doesn't exist. Now let's go make it exist. Was it pages or page? Oh goodness, I already forgot. Page slash value of page. Okay. Ah, wonderful. Okay, so that is pulling out of there with the right prefixes now. Let's see. Let's just gonna give it a quick commit. The other thing that we can do here is get a static element, right? So we're going to have to be able to eventually pass through, let's say, generated CSS, um, all sorts of stuff, images. It'll be static, page static. Okay. Let's make a route for that. Let's get some. We'll do a little bit of bike shedding here. So the statics are going to happen after all of this goes through. I mean, it could be before these. Or we just do it at the very bottom, which would still work. It's going to be async. We could put it in here. Kind of trying to figure out where does it go in the sequence of handlers. In fact, some of these I don't think make very much sense being in this list right here. Because some of these, like where we create or update content, it might not actually make sense for them to be right here. They might need to be later. All right, regardless, let's just wire up another route. We'll go ahead and do it at the end. Oh, statics. Static. No, we could do this up above. Okay, let's create a module for this. That, and I'm going to grab this here. Actually, a lot of it. Just going to grab the whole thing for a moment. This will be static slash. And because they overlap, it actually has to be before the other one. Oh, here's an interesting question. Is this going to retry? Oh, it's not going to retry. Here. Basically, if this one matches, then it actually isn't going to try these other ones. Okay. That makes sense. I just hadn't considered that before. Basically, you have to be able to create groups of routes. Try to get the static first. If this static doesn't exist, or rather if it doesn't match, this should be all right. Let's go to pages. No. It's our mods. Statics. Yeah, this is actually too much. It's okay. Oh, is that not needed here? Where's future used? No, it's used all over the place. Okay. But here we actually tied it up inside of that type. So let's get the statics working. We're going to have some sort of content lookup table, content type lookup. So based on the extension, what the content type is. Oh, you know what? We could save that as part of the metadata on the object, can't we? KV, KV. Expiring keys, metadata. To associate some metadata with a key value pair, set metadata to any arbitrary object. Oh, must serialize to JSON. Oh, the metadata must. And the put options object on a put call. Okay. But how do we get that back? Oh, you can get the metadata associated with a key value pair alongside its value by calling the get with metadata method. Okay. And then we have an object that's returned that has value and metadata. Now presume that we could also give this get with metadata the hint that you can give get. Because get you can give like these, cache TTL and the type information. So I presume you can still pass that through. Yeah, you can pass an options object with a type and or a cache TTL parameter to the get with metadata, similar to get. Great. So we could do that, and then the content type would be determined when it's uploaded. So that wouldn't be too bad. Kind of pushing those concerns forward. Right? Do you want this to be downloadable? Is it going to be like application octet stream? Do you want this to be, something that you just see in the browser, image JPEG, etc.? Let's add a get with metadata. Is it metadata, capital D? They're not doing it here. All right. And then we get a promise back. We need to have some other type. Um, some other type that we can actually convert this to. You know what? It should be snake case. Okay. Metadata value. We're going to have a couple of getters. Getter method. Let's see. First one's going to be value, right? That I'm going to call it value. The function value. Was it? Yep. Value and metadata. Ooh, but what kind is it? What does it return? I mean, we want it to be a readable stream. Oh, bummer. Okay. What are the different types that we have available for that? Let's look at fetch. Did I not put that in? Is it still in KV? Oh, it is. I was going to move this out. But it's KV fetch. Okay. So it needs to be string, readable stream, or array buffer. I'll return that. And stream, right? It's an array buffer. And then we have metadata. Oh, function meta data. This metadata value. And what do you return? JSON? JSON, I presume. You can get like metadata associated with the key value pair alongside its value by calling get with metadata. Okay. We're avoiding the JSON type. All right. It looks like it's just going to be JSON. Can we just say it's JSON? Where does that come from? No, JSON's a string. Unless they have something special. Let's check. I don't know if it's going to be an object. Not sure. This will be interesting. We'll have to figure out what the type is on that. All right. Where to? Let's close that one. Already, that's already wrong. Okay, these should actually be different types here. Oh, that is okay. All right. So we're gonna get this metadata value back from this get. Where's KV? Get with metadata. So let's go back into statics. We're going to call fetch, but we need a fetch with metadata. Hmm. We create a combined type. Right, that seems a little gross. What can we do? This is the difference here. Get with metadata. So returns a future. We unwrap it. How do we dry this up? I mean, prefixing, sure. That it's too bad that it's like right in the middle. Because the return type's going to be different for each one of these. One's going to be that metadata object, but it doesn't have the T encoded in it. So currently, we're trying to get these types back, but now we might have these with a side of metadata. Oh, it just all fell apart. All right, so if we ignored the other one, right? Oh, that's not it. This. Because we're going to be asking for the value using a little, what's this, duck typing. So we're asking for a different type, and just because of how JavaScript works, we can do this. It's kind of loose. But we lose our type information here. We don't know what type we want back. So this isn't going to work. That's really unfortunate. That's unfortunate because then we have to tell it what the T is. And at this point, we might as well turn these into an enumeration. I mean, it was so clean before. This one here, the compiler would help you. It would find the right return type, pass the value back up through here, be able to use T kind. That was really nice. But now we lose that information because of the return type. That metadata JavaScript type information is lost. So we can't get it from the return type. We have to pass it in either via a generic param or up here. All right, goodbye, JS bits here. Kind. We're gonna have text. Actually, it's right here. CF get kind. We're just mimicking these three, aren't we? Okay. Get rid of these. Now we have to pass the kind in. And actually, I want it in both places. I want it to be this. I want it to be similar. Now find type T. That's right. I'm going to get rid of the generics on this and say the path is always stir. So I don't want it stamping on multiple of these. Let the caller deal with this. They know what kind they want. Oh man, that was so nice earlier. We could leave it for fetch. It does mean that we have one of these stamped out for each one of those kinds. I'm going to just return the JS value here. Then the caller's going to have to do the dine into OK on it. Two reasons. Well, the first one is I don't want this code stamped out monomorphized for each kind that could be returned. That's one. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Maybe it's just one. Yeah. Okay. That's too bad. And this will have to be a JS value. And return that. Kind prefix path. Okay. Now let's fix the call to that. Oh, interesting. Yes, that doesn't return an option anymore. Oops, I think I lost my buffer. Okay. Now, what was the order? Was it the kind first? Environment kind prefix. Okay. Oops. I'm actually going to do a little function wrapper around this. Because in all of these places, see, I don't have a good sense of which one's smaller. And I probably shouldn't be worrying about which one's smaller at this point. I'm going to take that. We could do that. Keep fetch semi-ergonomic. Because all of these types that had been up here should kind of compile away. It's basically doing what we were doing before. Okay, I'm going to put those back. What's it saying? Return type. Ooh, fun, funky. All right. No, in this case, we have T kind. Is that correct? Yeah, like that returns to get KV options. All right, then prefix and path. Gonna get rid of the asref there. Just a stir. Oh. Environment, kind, prefix, and path. Environment, kind, prefix. And now we have this function defined once. S, where's S used? Should not be used. Oh, what's up? All right, now we only have it stamped out for each one of those types. And should be okay. Fetch core.
Right?
I think that's right. Yeah.
Dad, there's sunscreen right there.
Okay. All right. Now we have our fetch with metadata. Might be able to use the same fetch. Nearly. Hmm.
Dad?
Wonder. Hmm. I wonder. Is there a size difference between this and the other? This T option here needs to go away. This always returns a metadata value. Mm.
That's two.
Is it? In the afternoon.
It's in the morning.
Yes, well, you have to wait until after 2 in the afternoon.
That means I'm not gonna be able to play until I'm done with my schoolwork.
Yes, that's right. That's the goal. You're not going to be able to play on the electronics until you're done with your schoolwork. That's absolutely the goal. Good job figuring that out. What was it? We had all right. So we're going to do a build. We're not going to do a publish. We're going to do a build. Oops. What do we have here? Pages. Expected stir found string. Okay. Pages 23 and statics 20. Actually, we don't have to do this into owned, do we? We just do an as ref on that. All right, so we're going to build it first with both of those functions pointing to the same place. And our WASM file is 58552. Now, let's go back to KV. And we will inline, where is it? Fetch path. There. Oh, goodness. That was horrible. Nope, need a semicolon. Okay. Again. 58552. Build it again. 58322. Amazing. So it's actually smaller inlined. Huh. Is that the function overhead? I think it's just that the compiler is so darn good. I should stop playing these little games. 58322. Yeah, it's the same. It's already doing it. Or it ignored me. Good chance of that. Could also be that it detected this wasn't used and omitted it. So let's make sure that's used. Okay, now that's going to be that type there. This is kind of weird because if you said that, hey, we want an array buffer, there's no way to guarantee that information coming through. I wonder if we could do something a little bit extra with the, the types. So there's nothing that keeps us from exporting the same thing multiple times, right? Like in CF, so we could have metadata value A, well, or string, metadata value buffer, metadata value stream, right? One for each one of these, and return a different type based on that. Then we have an issue with where metadata value is returned. Get with, oh, it's because of the promise. We might be able to do this. Now let's play around a little bit. We have one for string. Let's do that up. What's this saying? Oh, yes. And then for the array buffer, okay, so if we had three different types for metadata value, right? We could do nearly the same thing as this, couldn't we? Say, oh, you want a metadata value XYZ back. Actually, I'm gonna check something. Yeah. Just wanted to build for a moment. You know what? Let's not focus on that stuff right now. Um, we have to do something similar to what we did up here, where we have some kind of trait. We use the same one. I like text better. Oh, Starlink. How you tease. But those types shouldn't come into here. So we need a different one. Okay. What do we have here? Page text is a option to that type. Unwrapper default. Yeah, that's not going to happen. So at this point, we have that sort of object. So at least, let's say, if it's none, we return. Should probably turn this into a match. If it's none, we're going to do this. If it's something, all right. And stop value. Oh, wow, that's a function call. So we get the value, and then it comes into here. All right. Now, how do we set one of these? We're not going to be using a template for this. We basically just want to pass the data through. So do we need this spawned future? Because at this point, yes, we're going to have a readable stream. Status text, nothing. Yeah, we don't care about that. Hey, Devashes. It has been quiet today. I started really, really late. Morning. I started late and everybody already had their seats in other streams. So it's been a really, really quiet stream. Hence, I didn't notice your text for like 3 minutes. Sorry about that. All right. So we're basically setting up a static route handler. So if we have like images, things like that, things that are static, they'll live in the KV store, and we're creating a route for them. So statics. All right. We're gonna get the metadata. Here's the page data. We have value and let page meta equals page data dot metadata. All right, we're not using that at the moment. I also don't know what type it is. We're gonna log that out. We're gonna log reference to. Oh goodness, how do we log that out? I want to know what the type is. We're not in JavaScript. We can't call type of. Is there an equivalent in the WASM bindgen? That's it? No search results for type of. Oh, I see. Well, I suspect that the type of this is... Oh, goodness. I think it's going to be text, but I'm not sure. So let's go back to CF. We're getting a string. I want to see, is this a string? At that point, it should be a string, and we should be able to say reference to format, bang. Like so. Oh, it's lying. It's not unsafe. All right, now, what about this section here? For statics, we do not need a text encoder. We have this string. I guess it's a string technically. And I was going to use a string just for a test, but really this should be a metadata value stream. Page stream. And at that point, we drop that into basically the redirect. So here's a readable stream. Here's a writable stream. We have the page stream. Page stream dot, what is it? Let's go back into CF. A readable stream. Pipe 2. So we'll call pipe 2 destination and options. Okay. Oh, it should be pipe underscore 2. Was that correct here? It is. Good. Pipe that to writable stream with the pipe 2 options default. Let's put that up there. Does this return a promise? What's that return? It does return a promise. Await the pipe dream. Oh, that needs to be wrapped up in the JS feature. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Let's see how it goes. That shouldn't be value. Oh, because we switched which one we were looking at. Where's the other one? String, stream. Oh, there it is. And then buffer. That, and I think I want to rename this to text. Something else that had string in the name. was down here. So here we have text. That's a good choice. Text versus stream. Good. Was it in KV? Oh, JS string. Yeah, that's not ours though. Okay. So far, so good. So if we had something that was static, we'd be able to grab it, return it. We don't have the metadata set up yet. Actually, this I think is too close, isn't it? This one's probably better. Warnings are good too. Okay, this one, that's fine. Hey, Togglebit, how you doing? And welcome everyone. Happy Thursday. How are we doing? It's been a quiet day today. I started really late. Morning, Ergo. But we did get our async routers working. So now you can have, let's see, let's find a good one. In pages. So we have globbing now. So you can match any route that starts there. You can also return a future. If we look at the future type, that works. You're off to sofa. Nice. You feeling all right? Your head foggy? Well, I hope you feel better. Well, take care, man. And thank you for the raid. So we're working with a couple of technologies here, right? Rust, of course, obviously. We're also working with Blue Flash. Thank you for the follow. Cloudflare. We're exploring a lot with Cloudflare at the moment. They have this fascinating set of tools available for their Cloudflare workers, which are basically little V8 instances. Everybody know V8 from Chrome? That's a JavaScript engine. Well, it can also run WebAssembly. So Cloudflare workers are essentially little 128 megabyte V8 instances. So you can run all sorts of stuff in them. Now, in this case, we're trying to run a little router, and we're creating this serverless webpack, not webpack, website generator. So you should be able to eventually, log into your site, add a new page, delete pages, edit pages, upload content, etc. All just using Cloudflare, right? No servers, just their workers, their KV store, their cache. Let's see, and how is Starlink doing today? I had the little box turned off. Looks like it's holding up there. The signal noise ratio is a little choppier today. We do have some clouds, but it should be all right. So, what I'm trying to do at the moment is, given that now you understand it's a website generator tool, there are static pieces of content in a website, right? An image, some CSS, right? And we're trying to create some static handlers. So we just created this fetch with metadata function, which will interact with the Cloudflare's KV store. We're about to test it. And once we'll see how the test goes. But instead of just getting the key back from the KV store that Cloudflare provides, it's the value and up to 128 bytes of metadata. So I'm hoping that I can actually store the content type for a piece of content alongside it in the KV store. Now, the way that Cloudflare works is they have all of these cool types available. In this case, you'll see just about all of the Cloudflare types have CF prefixed here. KV stuff is a wrapper of mine around their KV store. But here they have this transform stream, and you can wire up these streams of data. Just kind of a neat little thing, because that means you don't have to collect all of the data all at once and then send it, right? You can actually just kind of wire it together, and it's a stream of data that just goes through their system. So your memory overhead stays much lower. So we create a transform stream. In fact, we're not doing any transforming though. It's just kind of a pipe. Here's an input, here's an output. We get our fetch, our data, and in this case, we want metadata with the value being a readable stream. And we're going to take that stream and bind it. Where is it? We'll pipe it to the writable stream, which means that the other end of that writable stream is this readable stream. And we're just going to send that out to the user. So that's right there. Okay. So, and how's everyone doing today? Looking forward to the weekend? We hit Thursday. Nice and quick this week. Oblamovs, yes. Thank you for the follow. Good morning. Okay. This isn't actually unsafe. It's just Rust Analyzer pretending. Now, we're going to try to build this using their tools. They have this tool called Wrangler, which is a pretty cool tool. You can interact with the KV store, some secrets. You can do a little local dev environment setup, which really just kind of pipes things to an instance in the Cloudflare platform. You can do all sorts of things. Now, let's just go ahead and let's publish it here to production, straight to production. Okay. So there we have that. Now we can go to this instance, make sure it still works. We're actually pulling this content here out of a KV store. And if we just view the source of the page, oh, that's bright. But we have a template generator that's actually generating these for us, which is nice. And now let's go to static foobar.png. Right, great. It blew up, which is kind of expected, kind of not. Let's run it locally. We're basically doing the same thing. It's basically going to live in their environment, but we interact with it via local port, and we can see the logs. Okay, got the same error. Import a JS function that was not marked as catch through an error. Metadata value stream is not defined. Ooh. Okay, yeah. I was trying to be a little clever here, and that didn't work out. I wonder if we could, if WASM bindgen, if we can trick it. Basically, I have 3 different versions of this type. Let me find them. We have metadata value stream, metadata value text, metadata value buffer. Okay. Now, what I would prefer is to say this JS name is metadata value, like so. I don't know if that's actually going to work. Let's see. It might. Oh, I forgot I fixed the recompiling bug. So now we have quick compiles again. 3 seconds. Reload it. Metadata value. Oh, look, it did work. That's not defined. Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay. Well, basically what they're saying is that they don't have a type for this defined. That means that we could create a type for it. As if this, basically, this is what we're trying to call. We're calling get with metadata, right? That gives us an object back, and I'm guessing it's just a plain old JavaScript object, nothing fancy. That's too bad. Okay. Well, if that's the case, let's see if we can work around that a little bit different. We could try to define a type down here. These are usually types that we're exposing to JavaScript. Mm. Okay. Now, the other part of the error was marking it as catch. The catch attribute allows catching a JavaScript exception. This can be attached to any imported function or method. And the function must return a result where the error payload is a JS value. Interesting. Hmm. Unfortunately, I think we're stuck returning a JS value then, which is really unfortunate. Okay. So basically these three, metadata value text, metadata value stream, and buffer, have to go away. I was hoping that they had a type for that. Oh wait, there was a JS class. So we could say the JS class is object. Ooh, that feels really kind of iffy, doesn't it? All right, let's say this is of type object. Because if we can make this work, this would be amazing. Gymnastics here. Come on, OBS. Did you make it? You made it back, OBS. Thank you. Looks like it worked. Let's run it. Cannot read property value of undefined. Why is it undefined? Oh, because it must be this here. And that it wasn't nothing, but maybe the cast failed? That no, most of our debugging tools are gone now. Um, so we tried to serialize something. It's a little sketchy. Um, why don't we go into CF here? Or is there right, log. Let's format. What do we have here? Let's say we wanted to call the V8's JSON stringify. Can we do that? JSON or just call stringify? Let's call stringify and we will give it page data. Down here though. That doesn't exist yet. Let's create stringify so that I can actually take those. Source js.rs. WASM bind gen. This is going to be a method. The class name for this is JSON. I think the rest is correct though. Function stringify. Return a JS string there. That, and let's move this one as well. Oh, it should be namespace. Interesting. Yeah, it's not a method. Okay. Import some of these. JSS we already have. Get all the imports. Okay. So now we might be able to call stringify, but we need a JS value instead. Where were we? We were inside of statics? Create JS log. All right, now how do we convert this to a JS value? Do we not have that? Oh, fancy. Okay. Where's JS value from? Okay, it's from JS sys. And this one's from WASM bind gen. Uh-oh. Come on, Starlink, you can do it. I'm honest. Good morning. Good morning. All right, so we have JS cast for this value, I believe. So how do we actually take that back to a JS value, though? Let's look at the documentation. Looking at the code for that is just mind-numbing. Great IO. From Saturday, maybe? Maybe. I've been able to do everything without Saturday so far, which has been it's been really nice. As ref. Basically, I want to go back into JavaScript with a type that arguably is already a JS object. I've just got a funny type around it. Yeah, it just is object. Okay, so maybe. Oh, look at that Starlink. You know, shenanigans up there. Is this page data here? We could. This is the definition. JS class is object. That's fine. I think that they're actually returning us a plain old JavaScript object for this value, and I was trying to give it a little bit more of a Rust type to it. So we're creating a couple getters, right? We're saying that the JS class is this kind. JS name is object. I don't know if this is even possible, but like all the pieces look like they're there. So hopefully. But the error we're getting, let's get the error again. What was it? Okay, it's listening, reload. It's saying that import a JS function that was not marked as catched through an error. Not read property value of undefined. Okay. So probably the call to this value, which is in static somewhere. Is it down here, value, which means that page data is undefined. Maybe it missed a cast or like, so what came back as some undefined? That seems weird. Because fetch with metadata should just return an option into that type. Oh, but what happens if dine into fails? Uh, then hey, C Films, how you doing? Yeah, we're doing all right. I think it's this dine into here, in that it probably fails to check, becomes an error. We drop the error, and the OK is undefined. How's WASM? So far, it's been really good, actually. Which are we on right now? Chill EDM. Eh, it's okay. Skip this one though. Unchecked into. We'll convert the value. We're both self and TRs, simple wrappers around JS value. All right, unchecked into. Here we go. What do you do? Let's see. I do web dev as well. I'm also a programmer. I've been a programmer, full stack programmer for 20 years. Oh, interesting. This is always going to succeed, huh? Interesting. How do I describe my brand? My brand. I don't know. I haven't actually thought about that. More of a marketing question. I would love to know what the type is of this. Usually this uses the instance of operator. Okay. Are we getting an object from JavaScript? We are. We are getting a type from JavaScript. Um, it is one of these types. Basically, in the Cloudflare, what was it? With metadata, this guy here, we end up getting a promise back. And that promise resolves into a type, right? And that's going to be one of the metadata types. So here, from the KV store, get this key value object, right, from storage, and it'll have a property called value. That value is a readable stream, some text, whatever it is, right, based on the options you pass in. And then it also has a property object, a property value on the object. And that's just a JSON blob, I believe. Let's see. You're Twitch's knowledge and enthusiast on TV and movies. In addition, you do web and database. Well, very cool. Very cool. How long have you been doing that? So we get this promise. That promise results in one of these. I would like it to be this guy here. Right? And I was trying to trick this into saying, okay, I know you're an object. Um, well, at least I believe you're an object because it's kind of hard to tell from their documentation. So we have this await namespace, get that. Then all we have here, that everything that describes this is just that little bit there. I mean, we could toss this into a little JavaScript wrapper. Back for anything useful from the backtrace? Not really. We're only calling this from one place, so I know exactly where it is. Cannot read property value from undefined. The location where this is happening is right here. Right? And the problem is that the cast was failing. The dine into, that was inside of here. So at the bottom of this, instead of the unchecked into, we were doing the dine into, kind of like on line 72. But the cast is failing because it's saying that JavaScript doesn't have this metadata stream type. Right? But I don't know what the type is. Actually, I'm more curious about your web and database experience. Okay. So if we went back to dine into here, let's see if we can kind of tease out some of this JS, source JS. No, that's not what we want. We want JS, the index. Let's comment that out for a moment. Oops. Put this back in. So this is a wrapper, a little handler there. So let's do a couple things here. env.pages.get with metadata, just some gibberish, and we await that. Okay. Then we want to get type of foo. Right. This is essentially what we want. We want to know what this is, and we can do it in JavaScript a little bit easier than Rust. You develop a website. Your website launched December of 2016. You used to develop a blog before you developed your website. Oh, lovely. Technically, that's all the JavaScript bits. We probably don't even need that at the moment. Or that's all the Rust bits. So it's going to use the previous one. Okay. It's of type object. What stack are we using for development? Rust and Cloudflare. Okay, well, let's see. Let's one more time. Do I want to see your website? No, thanks. Cool. I want to figure out this problem. See, it's just a plain old JavaScript object. Films, thank you for the follow. Oh, Mitch. Our glitter stuck. There we go. But the type, it said was object. Interesting. And you can see that, oh, value is null and metadata is null because there was no response. But in this case, it was saying that it was null asking for that on the object. So I think there's two things here. First, the mapping to object wasn't correct. And the second one is, well, that. Because, well, it doesn't exist, right? Because even if we did make it exist, let's go back to statics. We could create something with a very particular expected a comma. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Did that build? Did it actually build? No. Okay. Oh, yes, that's a macro format. And stringify returns a JS string. Yeah. found that other type. But we already did that. We printed that out. We know what the type is, so we don't have to do that again. But here, the request type, it's going to be, going to CF. No, not CF, KV. I meant to go into KV. Here we go. So we're going to have a prefix, and the prefix is kind of determined by, it's either going to be static or page. So if we put something in the KV store for that value, say this is production, let's go into development workers. Sorry, the screen is really big. Manage workers, production, staging, development. Here we go. Now we have a little KV button at the top. Development, view. Let's see, static // I'll have slash static / image.png. And this is where you put the image. Add entry. It's just text at the moment. So if we go to static, or maybe just static because of our route, or was it? Some gibberish. So back to statics. Yeah, it's just static. Okay. Let's run it again. Is it compiled? Yes, yes. Static image PNG. Interesting. We got, oh, that's the other thing. Wait, what? Do it again. So in this case, we're not getting the same error. But the value was null because it didn't exist. That just seems so wrong. Actually, why is it different than before? Why is it different? Because before we were getting these other errors. Trying to find one. It's far back. How far back was it? Looks like it was building each time I saved. Okay. Too far back. Um, what's going on there though? Is that this value, the page stream? Here. It should be dying here. So we should be able to get the value out of this. Actually, is it doing this? Because the value I'm guessing is actually something. Okay. Oh shoot. I left this stuff in JS here. So here, static : / image, no, static PNG. This is what we should get back, right? All right. So yeah, we ended up with a value, but it's text. In this case, it's text. In the other case, it's a stream. So if we go back into statics, that stream, we should be able to pipe that to this writable stream. And we do await the future here. So that returns a future, I believe. Pipe 2 should return a future. Yeah, it returns a promise, which we convert to a future and then await it. Hmm. It's returning a readable stream. I don't know. This should fail to compile. Yeah. Why spawn local? Oh, thank you, C Films. And to you. Why not just await it? Uh, because we have to return the response so that it can be piped to something. Because without returning the readable stream, with a response with a readable stream, it doesn't actually have anything polling the other end. So the readable stream has to be returned, and we have to make sure that the pipe gets sent through. In fact, like all of this could be in that. Oh, except for the return. Yes, yes, yes. You return needs to be outside. We have to do that lookup first. It's like I'm missing some piece. The await chain is dead somewhere. This pipe 2 returns a stream. No, a promise. Okay, yeah, that can't be formatted. We know that. Just get rid of it. Oh, that worked. Kind of. Can I read property value of undefined? Which is this again. It did not work. It didn't work. And it's because of my types, right? It's because I'm trying to have metadata value stream be some sort of wrapper around a plain old data object. And I think there's a way to do this, but I think it has to do with like a duck typing. Working with duck type interfaces. Okay. See, I wasn't using structural anywhere. I mean, maybe we should be using structural here. But that's a method. It should be a getter. I don't think structural works when you're using it. When you're building a getter. Oh, on imported methods, getters, and setters allow you to define duck typed interfaces. Okay, let's toss structural on that. Now, what did they do here? They have type that quacks. Okay, let's get rid of that. Actually, the whole section there. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if that would give us the right JavaScript type, though. All right, let's try that. Reference error, metadata value stream is not defined. Yeah. Let's go to the error again. Unfortunate, but I think, yeah, let's go back a little bit. Let's toss those on object, maybe. How you built. Metadata value stream is not defined. It really is just an object. Okay, build. Yeah, cannot read property value of undefined. So I think I need to come up with a different way to support that. And then we'll be able to load that up. That's unfortunate. I gotta get running. So Let's find a raid target. Well, thank you for hanging out today. And Togglebit, thank you for the raid. Let's see. Classy Cat. Mr. Wow, it's a slow day today, isn't it? Your voice. Is it okay? Are we having issues? Good morning. Good morning, Pollux. You caught us at the very end here. We're going to raid somebody. Deep? No. It's just my morning voice. I mean, there's some. I can't sing. I just can't sing. But there are some, like, incredible low singers. Like, what's his name? Avi? AVI. Versus, what's the other guy's name? Avi. Jeff? Is it GEO? I mean, these guys are crazy. Oh, and Tim. Yeah, Tim. Tim Faust. Oh, these guys are crazy. So, all their voices, they've got like, um, they can hit like first octave on a key on a piano. All right, we're gonna raid the guy who's from Among Us. I haven't actually. I'm gonna start the raid. We can chat while we're prepping for that. In like interviews or something. Yeah, send me a link. I wouldn't mind seeing that. So, got to get to a meeting. Actually, a little late. Oh, we would raid them if Starlink didn't go down right there. Oh, thank you. Thank you.